When Evangelos Marinakis bought Nottingham Forest in 2017, he made the ambitious claim that he wanted to get the club back into European football. To put that into context, when he bought the club, we had just survived a very narrow scare of being relegated to League One, having beaten Ipswich 3-0 on the final day of the season. That claim at the time sounded very typical of what so many owners have said in the past when they first buy a club. They promise the biggest of feats, but they actually don't do much, like our previous regime. But 7 years later, and that claim of getting Forest not only back into the Premier League, but qualifying for European football, isn't a million miles away anymore. Nottingham Forest have been the biggest surprise package of the Premier League season so far, currently sat in 5th place after 5 games. Okay, so it's definitely not 5 games, it's 15, unless the season's gone very slow. Not sure how that's possible. We've got 25 points so far. We got 32 points in the entirety of last season. That shows just how much we've improved this season off the back of a significantly better and more thought out transfer window, a proper pre-season for Nuno Espirito Santo to actually coach the players and improve the players, get his ideas across, and create an incredible team spirit and togetherness within the team. Something that over the last few seasons in the Premier League has, I think, definitely been there. There's been a lot of team spirit saying that we've signed so many players, but with so much swapping and changing, it was always hard to really maintain it for a long time. But having kept the core of the squad together from last season and added some very crucial players in crucial positions, that's gone to a new level, not only in terms of togetherness, but quality. Namely Nicholas Milenkovic and Elliot Anderson. I think these two have been probably the most important signings of the lot so far. Nicholas Milenkovic absolutely transforming our defence. Set pieces were a major problem last season, and well, he scored this against Man United, a bullet header. We didn't score, and we conceded an awful lot from corners last season. This is a man that had one of the best aerial success rates in the whole of the Serie A last season when he was at Fiorentina. So that seemed like a masterstroke of a signing, especially for the fee that we paid for him, not even £15 million. Now, of course, financial fair play was a big problem for Forest last season, where we got a 6-point deduction, which was reduced to 4 points in the end after an awful lot of uncertainty around that subject. But it was financial fair play that actually benefited us this summer by selling Mangala and Moussa Niakate, getting a lot of money for 2 players who probably weren't worth as much as we sold them for being honest. Not to forget that we sold our 3rd choice, very bad and disappointing goalkeeper, Odysseas Rashidimos, to Newcastle for over £20 million, and in return signing probably their hottest prospect in Elliot Anderson. Is that not the best deal I've ever seen? I think it might be. Because Elliot Anderson is an incredibly intelligent footballer. What he offers to his team cannot be understated, and he is just what we needed to take that pressure off Morgan Gibbs-White in terms of that creative spark that Anderson brings to the midfield. Because before, there was not really anyone else that could do even close to what Morgan Gibbs-White can do on the football pitch for us. Elliot Anderson is a very close second, if not as good as Morgan at creating. Now, there's been games recently where Gibbs-White hasn't played, and I feel we have missed him for sure. But there has also been games recently where we've won without Gibbs-White, and we didn't particularly miss him either because of Elliot Anderson. Not to mention other players, of course. Actually having winger depth this season has been a major help, having Jota Silva and Ramon Sousa, who we've not seen as much, but he has scored a goal against Brighton and looked lively. Jota Silva has been a real breath of fresh air, actually having options on the wings, because last season that wasn't really a thing. Shoring up the defence with the likes of Morato and Alex Moreno, who's been a real revelation since coming in on loan from Aston Villa. You've got James Ward-Prowse in midfield, who can't even get a look in, and so far hasn't really been the Ward-Prowse we expected him to be. It's been very, very impressive, to say the least. The only real area I think we lack in terms of strength in depth is striker. We've only got 2 natural strikers, but thankfully one of them is now our all-time leading Premier League goal scorer in Chris Wood. 25 goals, overtaking Brian Roy as our all-time leading top-flight scorer. You cannot take that away from Chris Wood. But that's like the only area that I think lacks any kind of real depth. So all of this has come together to result in us being 5th in the Premier League table at this stage of the season. When you compare it to where we were last season, it took us until April to get even close to the amount of points we have got right now. Another stat for you is we won 9 the whole of last season. We've already won 7 this season. It's took a bit of a hit recently with defeats to Arsenal and Man City and Newcastle by conceding 3 in all those games, but we still got the 3rd best defence in the league this season with only 18 goals conceded. We've only scored 19, which is less than most in the top 10, but it's particularly balanced out by that defensive record. Not to mention how good Matt Sells has been, proving people wrong, because not everyone was completely sold on him, but my God, he's had some incredible performances so far this season. And oh, how can I forget, we're the only team still to beat Liverpool in all competitions. Liverpool currently in a very commanding position in the Premier League and the Champions League. We're the only team to beat them. So that, in my opinion, makes us the best team in Europe. And being, as I mentioned, that Liverpool win, I just thought, I chuck it in there. We can now actually perform away from home as well. I know we've lost to Arsenal and City with a bit of a whimper, but other than that, we've drawn with Chelsea, who look completely rejuvenated. As I said, beat Liverpool. Drew with a very strong and impressive Brighton team. And just beat Manchester United. I know they're a mid-table mediocre club, but that's still impressive. Not to mention wins against Southampton and Leicester being particularly impressive as well. It has just been a joy to watch Forest on the road this season, minus those 2 games against the 2 best teams in the Premier League the last couple of seasons in Arsenal and City. So there have been negatives to the season in terms of losing to City and Arsenal, but you've got to consider who we're playing. The performance wasn't great in those 2 games, but we were playing City and Arsenal. Newcastle, we were in that game, but we just let it get away from us. And then Fulham, it was just a very dodgy penalty really that cost us, and we should have arguably had one as well. So the only real negatives are those probably 3 games. Fulham, we lost, but it was just a very poor game. 0-0 would have been a fair result. But I bring back to my original question at the start of the video. Can Nottingham Forest qualify for European football this season? I don't see any reason why not. We've already proven that in a tough run of games, okay, we can be got at against Arsenal and City, and Newcastle for that matter, but we can also beat Man United away from home. Now, as bad as United can be, they can still turn it on, even this season, like they did against Everton the week before. So the question of whether they can qualify for Europe or not, it's something I don't even really want to think about. I just want to see how we do game by game, if I'm honest. I don't see any reason why we can't, but it's just about whether we can maintain it, maybe add 1 or 2 faces in January that can short the squad, ideally a striker to help out Wood. I think that is where it really comes down, the transfer window coming up, and then just seeing if we can maintain this run. If we can do that, then we're on for a very good season, but I would be delighted with top 10. Absolutely delighted with that. And before the season even started, I would have been okay just finishing a few places higher than 17th. But I don't think we need to worry about that. I do not. I think we are quite a lot further away from that now. I thought I'd do a video here talking about what our actual potential expectations could be this season. And again, bigging us up really, because I think we deserve it. If you have enjoyed this, please hit the like button, subscribe to Rads if you're new. And I'll see you soon, everyone, for what is going to be an interesting game against Aston Villa this weekend. I think it is a game we can win, for sure. We've proven we can beat anyone this season. Villa seem to be picking up form again. But, I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm going into every game right now thinking we can get something, and it's very pleasing. So, yeah, let's look forward to that one. Thanks for watching, everyone. Up the Reds.